Well, greetings everyone. Happy New Year. When I was at South Carolina visiting my grandkids and my daughter and her husband, and while I was there, I just realized how much I missed my people here at Sherwood Friends, and so I thought I would share with you some ideas I have on a couple of words that came to my mind. This last year was a worn out, horrible year on a lot of fronts. Now, not everything was bad about it, obviously, but we kind of concur that 2020 was a year that most of us probably like to forget. Now we're in a new year, and so with the new year comes hope. Everything's fresh. There's new opportunities, and we know now that the vaccines are dropping that there is a little bit of anticipation that we're going to be able to. We're seeing the light a long ways off, but it's out there at the end of the tunnel. But there's these two words that came to my mind that I thought would be important for us to talk about just for a minute or two. First of all is perspective. That's the first word. And the second word is community. Now, looking at perspective, we had a lot of unwelcome realities in 2020. And I think it's good for us to try to get some perspective on what we just experienced. Now, I don't in any way want to minimize the real suffering and hardship that literally millions of people around the world experienced, and then even some in our own community. But I just wanted to think about this for a second. The flu pandemic, which was 100 years ago, that Spanish flu pandemic, saw about 500 million people in our world become infected with that virus. And at that time, that was about a third of the world population. And out of that, about 50 million people died. And in America, about 675,000 people died. And our population at that time was 106 million. So that was about 0.6% of our population. That was a pretty devastating pandemic. Now, comparatively, 20 million people or so have contracted the coronavirus here in our country this last year, and we've had about 350,000 deaths. Every one of those deaths is tragic. Every human life is valuable. But just as a matter of perspective, that was 0.1% of our population. And again, for perspective purposes, I don't know if you knew this, but every year about 650,000 people die in our country from cancer or cancer-related illnesses. And every year, about the same amount of people die from heart disease-related illnesses in our country. And so, again, I think it's important for us to maintain perspective. The numbers indicate that COVID is a real and present danger, and it's in no way something that we should minimize. But fortunately, we have vaccines now that are dropping all over the place, and we'll hopefully experience some immunity from this horrible disease. But I'm also grateful that we have a Father in heaven who knows what's going on. And though I'm like everybody else, sometimes I'm just curious why he doesn't intervene. It doesn't change the reality that we have a God in heaven who loves us. And for those of us who are followers of Christ, I think it's important for us to not yield to despair and panic and fear. We have a great physician in Jesus, and he provides healing for our bodies in God's perfect timing, according to God's perfect will. But he always provides hope and peace that passes all understanding while we're going through whatever hardship we're going through. Now, understanding that living in hope rather than despair is easier said than done, I turn towards the second word that I want to talk about, and that is community. Now, the antidote to despair, to hope, to fear, and to the panic that many people feel, I really believe the antidote is relationship with one another and relationship with God, or fellowship is another word, and the word that really sticks to me is community. I love what the writer of Hebrews says in Hebrews chapter 10, starting at verse 23. He says, "Let us hold firmly to the hope we claim to have, the God who promised us faithful. Let us consider how we can stir up one another to love. Let us help one another do good works. And let us not give up meeting together. Some are in the habit of doing this. Instead, let us encourage one another with words of hope. Let us do this even more as you see Christ's return approaching. Now, I believe attending church, being a part of a fellowship of believers, is good for you. It's good for us. It's good for us spiritually. It's good for us physically. It's good for us emotionally. But I also believe it shouldn't be our only interaction that a person of faith has during the week. I think that Christianity is best experienced as part of a community that meets beyond just the 1 hour Sunday morning experience. So being a part of a small group, and what we're going to call small groups here at Sherwood Friends, or we're going to call them friends groups, being a part of a friends group is tremendously beneficial to our Christian experience. Not only do we experience God in the context of other believers meeting outside of the weekly Sunday morning experience, but we also have the opportunity to go deeper in our faith and as we get to study. And I just real briefly want to give you a couple of handholds of why I think it's important for you to consider participating in a friends group starting in February. So the first one is this. In a friends group, you get noticed, and everybody wants to feel like they're important. Everybody wants to feel like they matter. And a lot of times on Sunday morning, even though we do everything we can to really make sure that everybody feels special, that they're welcome, that we love you, oftentimes we even with our smaller church, we don't have a chance to come alongside and just give that expression of goodness and love to you. In the small group, in the friends group, you can do that. Those people that you meet with, they know you and they love you and they notice you and they care about you. Another reason why I think friends groups are so important is because they give you a sense of extended family. And I know with my daughter and her son and her husband and their kids living 3,000 miles away, they have nobody out there. They're trying to work on finding a church still. And I know a lot of you don't have family close by. I know many of you are on your own, and so this is an opportunity. A friends group is an opportunity for you to have extended family. These people who get to know you and love you, they become your family. Another reason to be a part of a friends group is that it allows you to search in the Bible and ask questions in a safe environment. And I don't have all the answers as a pastor. In fact, I often confess that I don't know a certain meaning of a certain passage, and I have to get back to you on that, so to speak. Or sometimes we stay in that place of not knowing. But in the context of a friends group, you have an opportunity in that safe space to ask those hard questions about faith, about the Bible, about God, about people, and discover together what the Bible teaches about things. And then another reason to be a part of a friends group is they provide support, kind of piggybacking off that idea of extended family. We are going to go through challenging times in life. 2020, anybody? And it's important for us to have people in our corner that are there for us when we need help, whether it be financial help, whether it be yard work that needs to be done that you just can't do on your own, or you're moving to a new place, or whatever. It's a support group. Sometimes it's just an ear to people that will your support. Your friends group becomes a support group where they can just listen to you, share your heart. And then the last thing I want to share is that they also improve our attitude. It's amazing how being a part of a friends group, being a part of my small group, my men's group that I'm a part of, just every time that I leave that meeting on Thursday nights, I am buoyed, I am lifted up and encouraged by those guys. And so my attitude changes. I come to one of those groups sometimes feeling pretty low. I leave feeling pretty good. And not only in the context of the group meeting, but I think just in life. I have a group of people that love me and care for me, and they just raise my estimation about life. And so there's a lot of benefits about being part of a friends group. I've shared a few, but I want to encourage you to really consider being a part of a friends group. If you're interested in joining one, or if you still have some questions, please email me directly, rmiller@sherwoodfriends.org, and I will let you know about the friends groups that are starting up after the 1st of February. And I'll also answer any questions you have. I'll give you some resources that you need. Also, By the way, if you are interested in leading a small group or a friends group, or if you're interested in hosting a friends group, let me know, because we could use your help. And finally, if that's you, if you want to lead or host, we're having a training module on this Saturday morning, January 9th at 9 a.m. And it'll be all via Zoom still. And so let me know, and I'll send you the Zoom credentials to participate in that. One last thing I'd like to ask. Would you please join me in praying for our Friends Group ministry that launches in February? Pray for the Saturday training module. Pray for our Friends Group leaders and hosts. We need prayer. We need God's encouragement as we venture forth in this new and improved small group ministry at Sherwood Friends, what we are calling Friends Groups. Thanks for listening. I look forward to seeing you soon.